The sun hung low in the sky, casting a warm golden hue over the sprawling landscape of pinewood forest. It was a place where nature thrived, a sanctuary of towering trees and vibrant wildflowers that danced in the gentle breeze. For Mia, this was more than just a forest, it was a refuge from the chaos of her life in Seattle. She had been looking forward to this trip for weeks, a chance to escape and reconnect with herself. Mia was 25, with long, wavy auburn hair that framed her face and bright green eyes that sparkled with curiosity. She had always felt a deep connection to nature, finding solace among the trees and rivers. This trip, however, held an added excitement. Her stepfather's friend, Alex, would be joining them. Mia had heard stories about Alex from her stepfather, but she had never met her. The anticipation bubbled inside her as she imagined what this new friendship could bring. As they arrived at the campsite, Mia's heart raced with a mix of excitement and nervousness. The sound of laughter filled the air as her stepfather, Tom, set up the tent with Alex's help. Alex was everything Mia had imagined, tall and athletic with short, tousled brown hair and an infectious smile that lit up her face. There was something magnetic about her presence. Mia felt drawn to her in a way she couldn't quite understand. "Hey there, you must be Mia," Alex said, turning to her with an inviting grin. "I've heard so much about you." "Hi. Yeah, I've heard a lot about you too," Mia replied, trying to keep her voice steady. She felt a flutter in her stomach as their eyes met. The first evening passed in a blur of stories and laughter around the campfire. The crackling flames illuminated their faces as they shared tales of past adventures. Alex's stories were filled with humor and daring escapades, hiking treacherous trails and camping under the stars in remote locations. Mia found herself hanging on every word, captivated not just by the stories but by Alex's passion for life. As night fell and the stars began to twinkle overhead, Mia felt a sense of camaraderie forming between them. They exchanged playful banter, each teasing the other about their supposed survival skills. It felt easy and natural, like they had known each other for years. "All right, let's see who can start a fire without matches," Alex challenged with a mischievous glint in her eyes. Mia laughed, accepting the challenge. "You're on." The competition turned into a playful struggle as they fumbled with sticks and dried leaves under the watchful eyes of Tom. After several failed attempts and fits of giggles, they finally managed to spark a small flame. The victory felt sweet as they celebrated their success with high fives and laughter. As the fire crackled softly beside them, Mia found herself stealing glances at Alex when she thought she wasn't being watched. There was something about Alex that intrigued her, the way she carried herself confidently yet effortlessly drew others in. It wasn't just admiration, it was something deeper that stirred within Mia. Later that night, as they settled into their sleeping bags under the vast expanse of stars, Mia couldn't shake off the feeling that this trip would change everything for her. She lay awake for hours, listening to the sounds of nature surrounding them, the rustle of leaves in the wind and the distant hoot of an owl, her mind racing with thoughts of Alex. The next day promised new adventures as they planned to hike deeper into Pinewood Forest. As dawn broke and painted the sky in hues of orange and pink, Mia felt a sense of hope blossoming within her. Perhaps this trip would be more than just an escape, perhaps it would lead to something unexpected, a connection that could transform her life. With renewed energy, she joined Tom and Alex for breakfast by the fire, eager to embrace whatever lay ahead. The morning sun filtered through the trees, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor as Mia, Tom, and Alex prepared for their hike. The air was crisp and invigorating, filled with the earthy scent of pine and damp soil. Mia felt a thrill of anticipation coursing through her veins as she laced up her hiking boots, ready to explore the beauty of Pinewood Forest. "Are you ready for an adventure?" Alex asked, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. She was dressed in a fitted tank top and cargo shorts, showcasing her athletic build. Mia nodded, feeling a rush of excitement at the prospect of spending the day with Alex in nature. As they set off along the winding trail, the sounds of chirping birds and rustling leaves accompanied them. Tom led the way, sharing stories about the forest's history while Mia and Alex walked side by side, their laughter mingling with the symphony of nature. The chemistry between them was palpable, every shared glance seemed to ignite a spark that neither could ignore. After an hour of hiking, they reached a clearing that opened up to a breathtaking view of rolling hills blanketed in vibrant greenery. The sight took Mia's breath away. "Wow, this is incredible," she exclaimed, her heart swelling with appreciation for the beauty around her. Just wait until we reach the waterfall, Alex said, her voice filled with excitement. It's even more stunning. As they continued their hike, Mia felt herself growing more comfortable around Alex. They chatted about everything from favorite movies to childhood memories. Mia learned that Alex had grown up in a small town in Colorado, where she spent her summers exploring the mountains with her family. There was a sense of adventure in Alex's spirit that resonated deeply with Mia. Eventually, they arrived at the waterfall, an enchanting cascade of water tumbling over rocks into a crystal-clear pool below. The sound of rushing water filled the air, creating a serene atmosphere that felt almost magical. Mia stood in awe, captivated by the beauty before her. Let's take a dip, Alex suggested playfully, already pulling off her tank top. Mia hesitated for a moment but then felt an exhilarating rush at the thought of joining Alex in the cool water. She quickly followed suit, shedding her own clothes and diving into the pool. The water was refreshing against her skin as she surfaced with a gasp, laughter bubbling up inside her. Alex swam closer, splashing water playfully at Mia. You're not afraid of a little cold water, are you? She teased. Not at all. Mia shot back, grinning as she splashed Alex in return. They played like children, their laughter echoing around them as they swam and dove beneath the surface. After what felt like hours of playful splashing and swimming, they finally climbed out of the water, breathless and exhilarated. They sprawled on warm rocks under the sun to dry off, their bodies glistening with droplets of water. As they lay there, Mia couldn't help but steal glances at Alex. The way sunlight danced on her skin made her heart race. She felt an undeniable attraction growing stronger by the minute, a connection that transcended mere friendship. Do you ever think about what it would be like to just escape everything? Alex asked suddenly, breaking the comfortable silence between them. Mia turned to face her fully. All the time, she admitted softly. Sometimes I feel trapped in my routine back home. Alex nodded thoughtfully. I get that. That's why I love coming out here, to find freedom in nature. She paused for a moment before adding, and to connect with people who understand that feeling. Mia felt a warmth spread through her chest at those words. It was as if Alex saw right through her facade and understood her longing for something more, something deeper than what life had offered so far. As they began to gather their things to head back to camp, Mia felt an urge to take a risk, to share something personal with Alex. I've always felt different from everyone else, she confessed hesitantly. Like I don't quite fit in. Alex turned to her with an encouraging smile. You're not alone in that feeling, she said gently. I think everyone struggles with fitting in at some point. Their eyes locked for a moment, and Mia felt an electric tension building between them, an unspoken understanding that hinted at something more profound than friendship. As they hiked back through the forest, Mia's heart raced at the thought of what lay ahead, both in their friendship and within herself. She knew this trip was changing her in ways she couldn't yet comprehend. When they finally reached camp, Tom was busy preparing dinner over the fire. The smell of grilled vegetables filled the air as he greeted them with a wide smile. How was your hike? He asked casually. Absolutely amazing, Mia exclaimed, unable to contain her excitement. Alex chimed in, we found this incredible waterfall. You should have seen it. As night fell and they gathered around the fire once again, Mia couldn't shake off the feeling that this trip was just beginning, a journey not only through Pinewood Forest but also into uncharted territories within herself and her heart. The next morning dawned bright and clear, with the sun peeking through the trees and casting a warm glow over the campsite. Mia awoke to the sound of birds chirping and the gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze. She stretched, feeling invigorated from the previous day's adventures. As she sat up, she noticed Alex already awake, sitting by the fire and sipping coffee, her silhouette framed by the rising sun. Good morning, Mia called out, her voice still slightly husky from sleep. Morning. I made some coffee if you want, Alex replied, her smile brightening the cool morning air. Mia quickly joined her, grateful for the warm cup in her hands. They sat together in comfortable silence for a moment, sipping their coffee and watching as Tom began to prepare breakfast. The atmosphere was peaceful, filled with the sounds of nature waking up around them. What's on the agenda today? Mia asked, breaking the silence. I thought we could explore some of the hiking trails nearby, Alex suggested, her eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. There's a scenic overlook that I think you'll love. Mia felt a thrill at the idea. That sounds perfect. After breakfast, they packed their bags with snacks and water before setting off on their next adventure. The trail was less traveled than the previous one, winding through dense thickets and towering trees. The air was fragrant with pine and wildflowers, and Mia felt a sense of freedom as they hiked deeper into the forest. As they walked, Alex shared stories about her life in Colorado, her love for rock climbing, her passion for photography, and her dreams of traveling the world. Mia listened intently, captivated not only by Alex's words but by the passion that radiated from her. "Photography is my escape," Alex said as they paused to take in a breathtaking view of a distant mountain range. "Capturing moments helps me remember why I love being outdoors." Mia nodded, feeling inspired by Alex's zest for life. "I've always wanted to try photography but never really had the chance." "Maybe I can teach you some basics," Alex offered with a grin. "We can have our own little photo session at the overlook." The idea excited Mia. She could already envision capturing the beauty around them through Alex's eyes. They continued along the trail, their laughter echoing through the trees as they playfully challenged each other to spot different types of wildlife. After an hour of hiking, they finally reached the scenic overlook. The view was nothing short of breathtaking, a vast expanse of forest stretching out below them, kissed by sunlight that made it shimmer like emeralds. Mia felt a sense of awe wash over her as she took in the beauty before her. "Wow," she breathed, stepping closer to the edge to get a better look. "This is incredible." "Right," Alex said, standing beside her. "It makes all those uphill climbs worth it." They spent some time taking pictures together, Mia capturing candid shots of Alex as she posed dramatically against the backdrop of nature. With each click of the camera, Mia felt herself growing more comfortable in Alex's presence, their connection deepening with every shared laugh and playful nudge. After they finished taking photos, they settled down on a large rock overlooking the valley below. The sun warmed their skin as they shared snacks and talked about everything and nothing at all, dreams for the future, favorite books, and even childhood crushes. As they chatted, Mia felt an undeniable pull toward Alex, a magnetic attraction that was becoming harder to ignore. She caught herself stealing glances at Alex when she thought she wasn't looking, admiring how her hair glinted in the sunlight and how animated she became when talking about something she loved. "Hey," Alex said suddenly, breaking Mia's reverie. "What's something you've always wanted to do but haven't yet?" Mia hesitated for a moment before answering honestly. "I've always wanted to travel more, to see new places and experience different cultures." She paused, searching for courage. "And maybe, to be more open about who I am." Alex's expression softened as she listened intently. "What do you mean by that?" Taking a deep breath, Mia decided to share more than she usually would. "I've always felt like I had to hide parts of myself, like I couldn't fully express who I am or who I love." Her heart raced as she spoke, it felt liberating yet terrifying to open up. Alex nodded thoughtfully. "I get that," she said softly. "It can be hard to be true to yourself when society has so many expectations." Mia felt a wave of relief wash over her at Alex's understanding tone. They locked eyes for a moment, it was as if an unspoken bond formed between them, a connection that transcended friendship. "I admire your courage," Alex said finally. "It takes strength to be authentic in a world that often tries to box us in." Mia smiled shyly at those words, they meant more than she could express. In that moment, surrounded by nature and warmth, she felt seen, truly seen, for perhaps the first time in her life. As they began their descent back down the trail, Mia couldn't shake off the feeling that this trip was changing everything for her, not just in terms of adventure but also in discovering who she was meant to be. When they returned to camp later that evening, Tom had prepared another delicious meal over the fire, grilled vegetables paired with pasta that filled their bellies and warmed their hearts after a long day outdoors. As night fell and stars twinkled overhead like diamonds scattered across velvet fabric, Mia found herself sitting next to Alex once more around the campfire. Their knees brushed against each other occasionally, a small touch that sent shivers down Mia's spine. "Do you believe in fate?" Mia asked suddenly, emboldened by their earlier conversation. Alex looked thoughtful for a moment before answering. "I think we create our own fate through our choices." She glanced at Mia with an intensity that made her heart race. "But sometimes it feels like certain people are meant to cross our paths at just the right time." Mia held her breath as those words hung in the air between them, a promise of something deeper yet unspoken. As they settled into comfortable silence again under a blanket of stars, Mia knew one thing for certain: this trip was only just beginning, and so was her journey toward embracing who she truly was. The next day dawned with a sense of promise, the sun rising slowly over Pinewood Forest, painting the sky in soft pastels of pink and orange. Mia awoke feeling refreshed, her heart still fluttering from the previous night's conversations with Alex. As she unzipped her sleeping bag, she caught sight of Alex already awake, sitting cross-legged by the fire and sipping coffee, a contented smile on her face. "Good morning, sleepyhead," Alex called out cheerfully as Mia emerged from the tent. "Good morning," Mia replied, stretching and taking a moment to soak in the beauty around her. The forest was alive with sounds, the chirping of birds, the rustling of leaves, and the distant sound of a stream flowing nearby. After breakfast, they decided to spend the day exploring a different part of the forest. Tom suggested a trail that led to an old lookout tower that offered panoramic views of the surrounding area. The idea excited Mia. She could already imagine how breathtaking it would be to see everything from above. As they hiked, the trail wound through dense thickets and patches of wildflowers. The sun filtered through the leaves, creating a mosaic of light and shadow on the ground. Mia walked beside Alex, their shoulders occasionally brushing against each other, sending sparks of electricity through her. They chatted easily about their favorite songs and movies, each sharing snippets of their lives that made them feel more connected. Mia found herself laughing more than she had in a long time. Alex had a way of making even mundane stories feel exciting. "Okay," Alex said suddenly, stopping in her tracks. "Let's have a little fun. I challenge you to a race to that tree." She pointed to a tall oak tree in the distance. Mia grinned, feeling competitive energy surge through her. "You're on," she shouted before taking off down the trail. They sprinted side by side, laughter echoing through the trees as they raced toward the tree. Mia felt exhilarated. It was as if all her worries melted away with each stride. Just as they reached the tree, Mia stumbled slightly but managed to catch herself before falling. "Ha! I win," Alex laughed triumphantly, leaning against the tree for support. "Only because I almost tripped," Mia protested playfully, trying to catch her breath. As they stood there catching their breath, something shifted in the air between them. Their laughter faded into comfortable silence as they exchanged glances filled with unspoken words. Mia's heart raced as she felt an overwhelming urge to close the distance between them. "Hey," Alex said softly, breaking the tension. "You okay?" Mia nodded but felt vulnerable under Alex's gaze. "Yeah, just enjoying this moment." "Me too," Alex replied quietly. "It's nice to let loose and just be ourselves." With a shared smile, they continued their hike toward the lookout tower. As they climbed higher, the trees began to thin out, revealing glimpses of stunning vistas that took Mia's breath away. Each step brought them closer to something magical. When they finally reached the tower, it stood tall against the sky, a wooden structure that had weathered many seasons. They climbed up the creaky stairs together, excitement bubbling within them. At the top, Mia gasped at the view before her, a sweeping panorama of lush forest stretching endlessly under a bright blue sky. The sight was awe-inspiring. It felt like standing on top of the world. "This is amazing," Mia exclaimed, taking it all in. She turned to Alex, who stood beside her with a look of sheer joy on her face. "I knew you'd love it," Alex said proudly. "It's one of my favorite spots." They spent time taking pictures and soaking in the beauty around them. As they leaned against the railing together, Mia felt an urge to reach out and take Alex's hand, an impulse that felt both thrilling and terrifying. "Can you believe how far we've come?" Alex asked suddenly, breaking Mia's thoughts. "From strangers at a campsite to this." Mia smiled softly. "Yeah, it feels surreal." As they stood there side by side, something shifted again, an undeniable tension that hung in the air between them like electricity waiting to spark. Their eyes met once more. This time there was no mistaking what lay beneath their playful banter. "Mia," Alex said softly, her voice barely above a whisper. "Can I ask you something?" "Of course," Mia replied, her heart pounding in anticipation. "What do you want from this trip?" "From us?" Alex's gaze was intense yet searching. Mia took a deep breath. This was her moment to be honest about what she felt. I want to explore who I am and what this connection between us means." Her voice trembled slightly as she spoke. Alex stepped closer, their bodies almost touching now. I feel it too, she admitted softly. There's something special here, something I haven't felt in a long time. In that moment, everything else faded away, the towering trees, the endless sky, until it was just them standing on that lookout tower with hearts wide open and possibilities stretching before them like an uncharted path. Without thinking further about it or questioning herself any longer, Mia reached out and took Alex's hand gently in hers. The warmth radiating from their touch sent shivers down her spine as she looked into Alex's eyes filled with understanding and something deeper that mirrored her own feelings. I'm glad we're here together, Mia said softly. Me too, Alex replied with a smile that lit up her entire face. They stood there for what felt like an eternity, hands intertwined as they shared silent promises and dreams for whatever lay ahead. In that moment atop the world, everything felt right, there was no fear or hesitation, only hope and connection blooming between them like wildflowers under the sun. As they made their way back down from the tower later that afternoon, Mia felt lighter than ever before. A weight lifted off her shoulders as she embraced who she was becoming alongside someone who understood her so deeply. When they returned to camp that evening under a canopy of stars once again twinkling above them like scattered diamonds across velvet fabric, Mia knew this trip had changed everything for her. Her heart was open now in ways she never thought possible. And as they settled down around the fire once more, sharing stories and laughter, Mia couldn't help but feel excited about where this journey would lead them both next. The following morning, the sun peeked through the trees, casting a warm glow over the campsite. Mia awoke with a sense of anticipation, her heart still racing from the previous day's revelations. She lay in her sleeping bag for a moment, replaying the memory of holding Alex's hand at the lookout tower. It felt like a turning point, a moment that had shifted everything. As she emerged from her tent, she found Alex already awake, kneeling by the fire and poking at the embers. The smell of fresh coffee wafted through the air, mingling with the earthy scent of pine. Good morning, Mia greeted cheerfully, her heart lifting at the sight of Alex. Morning, I made coffee, Alex replied, looking up with a smile that made Mia's stomach flutter. I thought we could enjoy it by the stream. Mia nodded eagerly, feeling a rush of excitement at the prospect of spending more time alone with Alex. They grabbed their mugs and walked to a nearby stream that bubbled gently over smooth stones. The sound of water flowing created a soothing backdrop as they settled on a large rock, sunlight dancing on the surface of the water. This is perfect, Mia said, taking a sip of her coffee and savoring the warmth. I could get used to mornings like this. Me too, Alex replied, her gaze drifting to the water. It's moments like these that remind me why I love being outdoors. They sat in comfortable silence for a while, sipping their coffee and watching small fish dart beneath the surface. Mia felt a sense of peace enveloping her, but there was also an undercurrent of excitement, an anticipation for what was to come. After finishing their coffee, they decided to explore further along the stream. The path was lined with wildflowers in vibrant colors, and Mia couldn't resist stopping to take pictures. She snapped photos of everything, the delicate petals glistening with morning dew, the way sunlight filtered through leaves, and candid shots of Alex laughing as she posed playfully among the flowers. You have an eye for this, Alex said as they reviewed some of Mia's photos on her camera. You capture moments beautifully. Thanks. I've always loved photography, it makes me feel connected to everything around me, Mia replied shyly. As they continued walking, they stumbled upon a small clearing where the stream widened into a shallow pool. The water sparkled invitingly under the sun, and Mia felt an irresistible urge to jump in. Let's swim, she exclaimed impulsively. Alex raised an eyebrow but then grinned. You read my mind. They quickly shed their clothes again and dove into the cool water, laughter echoing around them as they splashed each other playfully. The refreshing sensation enveloped them as they swam and floated on their backs, gazing up at the sky. This is amazing, Mia shouted over the sound of splashing water. Right. It feels like we're in our own little paradise, Alex agreed, her laughter ringing out like music. After swimming for a while, they climbed out to dry off in the sun. As they lay on warm rocks, side by side, Mia felt an overwhelming sense of contentment wash over her. She turned her head to look at Alex and found her staring back with an intensity that made Mia's heart race. Can I ask you something? Alex said softly. Of course, Mia replied, feeling both nervous and excited. What do you think this is between us? This connection. Alex's voice was serious but gentle. Mia took a deep breath. This was another pivotal moment. I think it's something special, she said honestly. I've never felt this way about anyone before. Alex smiled softly at those words. Me neither, she admitted. It feels like we've known each other forever. Mia's heart swelled at that sentiment. It was exactly how she felt. They lay there for a moment longer before Alex shifted closer, their shoulders touching. I don't want this trip to end, Alex said quietly. I don't want to go back to reality just yet. Me neither, Mia replied softly, feeling a pang of longing at the thought of returning home without this newfound connection. In that moment, something shifted again, the air thickened with unspoken words and possibilities. Mia could feel her heart pounding as she turned to face Alex fully. Their eyes locked in an intense gaze that seemed to hold all their shared moments, the laughter, the adventures, and now this undeniable chemistry. Without thinking twice about it, Mia leaned closer until their lips were just inches apart. Can I kiss you? She whispered breathlessly. Alex nodded slowly, her eyes filled with warmth and desire. Yes. Mia closed the distance between them in an instant, capturing Alex's lips with hers in a soft yet electrifying kiss. Time seemed to stand still as they melted into each other, everything else faded away until it was just them in that moment. When they finally pulled away, both breathless and wide-eyed with surprise at what had just happened, Mia felt a rush of joy flood through her body. That was incredible, Alex said softly, still holding onto Mia's hands as if afraid to let go. Mia laughed lightly, feeling giddy and alive. It really was. They spent the rest of the afternoon exploring more trails together, each step filled with newfound energy and excitement for what lay ahead in their relationship. Every shared glance and touch felt charged with possibility. It was as if they were discovering not just each other but also parts of themselves that had long been hidden away. As dusk approached and they returned to camp once more under a sky painted with hues of orange and purple, Mia knew this trip had transformed her life forever. She had stepped out of her comfort zone and embraced who she truly was, and she had done it alongside someone who understood her completely. That night around the campfire once again, Tom sharing stories while Alex sat close beside her, Mia felt an overwhelming sense of gratitude wash over her for every moment that had led them here. She realized that whatever challenges awaited them back home would be worth facing together. This connection was something she wanted to nurture and explore further, a journey that had only just begun. The following morning, the forest was alive with the sounds of nature awakening. Mia stirred in her sleeping bag, a sense of excitement bubbling within her as she recalled the kiss she had shared with Alex the day before. It felt surreal, like a dream she never wanted to wake from. She lay there for a moment, savoring the warmth of the sun filtering through the tent, before finally pushing herself up. As she emerged from the tent, she found Alex already sitting by the fire, her hair tousled and a sleepy smile on her face. Good morning, she called out, her voice still thick with sleep. Good morning, Mia replied, feeling her heart skip at the sight of Alex. The way the sunlight danced in her eyes made Mia's breath catch in her throat. Coffee, Alex offered, holding up a steaming mug. Yes, please, Mia said gratefully as she joined Alex by the fire. The warmth of the mug felt comforting in her hands as they settled into their usual spot by the stream. After breakfast, Tom suggested they take a day trip to a nearby lake known for its stunning views and crystal-clear waters. The idea thrilled Mia. It would be another opportunity to explore and create more memories with Alex. As they hiked toward the lake, Mia walked side by side with Alex, their fingers brushing occasionally, a touch that sent shivers down Mia's spine. They exchanged playful banter and laughter, their connection growing deeper with every shared moment. When they finally reached the lake, Mia gasped at the sight before her. The water shimmered like glass under the bright blue sky, surrounded by lush greenery and wildflowers that painted the landscape in vibrant colors. It was breathtaking. Wow, Mia breathed, taking it all in. This is incredible. Just wait until we get in, Alex said with a mischievous grin. It's even better up close. Without hesitation, they shed their clothes and ran toward the water together. The coolness of the lake enveloped them as they dove in, laughter echoing across the surface. They splashed each other playfully, their joy infectious as they swam and floated under the sun. After swimming for a while, they climbed onto a large rock that jutted out over the water. They lay there side by side, letting the sun warm their skin as they caught their breath. "You know," Alex began, turning to face Mia with an earnest expression, "I've never felt this way about anyone before." Mia's heart raced at those words. "Me neither," she admitted softly. "It's like everything just clicks." Alex smiled warmly at her response. "I'm really glad we met on this trip." "Me too," Mia replied, feeling a rush of emotion as their eyes locked once again. There was something undeniably special about this connection, something that felt both exhilarating and terrifying. As they lay there in comfortable silence, Mia felt an overwhelming urge to reach out and touch Alex's face. She brushed her fingers gently along Alex's cheek, marveling at how right it felt to be so close to her. In that moment of vulnerability, Alex leaned into Mia's touch and closed her eyes briefly. "You make me feel safe," she whispered. Mia's heart swelled at those words. She had never expected to find such comfort in someone else. "I feel safe with you too," she replied softly. With a shared understanding hanging in the air between them, Mia leaned closer and captured Alex's lips with hers once more, a kiss that was tender yet filled with passion. It was a kiss that spoke volumes about everything they had shared and everything yet to come. After pulling away, both breathless and smiling widely at each other, they decided to swim again, this time diving beneath the surface and exploring the underwater world together. They laughed as they chased each other through the water like playful dolphins, their hearts light and carefree. Eventually, they climbed back onto their rock to dry off under the sun. As they lay there together again, Mia couldn't help but think about how much this trip had changed her life, how it had opened her heart to new possibilities and new love. Later that afternoon, after enjoying a picnic lunch on the shore of the lake with Tom, they decided to take a walk along the water's edge. The sun began to dip lower in the sky, casting golden rays across the surface of the lake. "Mia," Alex said suddenly as they walked hand in hand along the shore. "Can we talk about what happens after this trip?" Mia felt a flutter of nerves but also excitement at what Alex might say next. "Of course," she replied cautiously. "I don't want us to just be a summer fling or something that fades away when we go home," Alex confessed, looking deeply into Mia's eyes. "I want to explore this connection further, whatever it may lead to." Mia felt her heart race at those words. It was everything she had hoped for but hadn't dared to voice out loud. "I want that too," she said earnestly. "I want to see where this goes." A smile broke across Alex's face, a radiant expression that lit up her entire being. "Really? You mean it?" "Absolutely," Mia replied without hesitation. They paused by the water's edge as if time stood still around them, two souls standing on the brink of something beautiful and new. In that moment of clarity and connection, everything felt possible. There were no boundaries or fears, only hope for what lay ahead. As dusk began to settle over Pinewood Forest and stars began twinkling overhead like tiny diamonds scattered across velvet fabric once more, Mia knew this trip had transformed not just her summer but also her outlook on love and life itself. With Alex by her side, someone who understood her completely, she felt ready to embrace whatever adventures awaited them both beyond this magical forest.